and thank you for tuning in. I am Crystal Gunn, financial strategist for women, founder of the Amazing Woman Network, and host of Amazing Women Speak, a celebration of Black women by Black women, where we strive to bring info to uplift, inspire, and motivate every Black woman to earn, honor, and execute her amazing as it was established at birth. So let's get to know who is here today. I give way to my BFF and co-host, Miss Michele Harper.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Amazing Women Speaks. My name is Michele Harper. I am the Director of Diversity for Evident Change and the owner of Agency Fitness, LLC. What an exciting opportunity to once again come before you and have some conversation, unpacking the bullshit bar. I'm really excited for the two guests we have tonight, because these women are amazing and have really a lot of experience around what it's like to be too busy to be busy. And so I want to invite these wonderful ladies in to introduce themselves and to get this conversation started. I'd like to invite in Traci Ricks.
Hey, everybody. I am Traci Ricks. First of all, I own my amazing. I am an amazing woman. I am the owner, operator, and chef of Estella's famous brunch company. I am also the owner of Snacktivism Detroit, where I just go around and feed people for no cost. And I am an art teacher and creative writing teacher at American International Academy in Inkster. Happy to be here.
Yay, Traci.
Yay.
Awesome. Thank you, Traci. Really looking forward to hearing from you tonight. Now I'd like to invite in Paige. Come on in, Paige Steiger.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paige Steiger. I too own my amazing. First, I just want to say thank you for inviting me on this platform to be able to speak tonight. I am a personal injury attorney at the Mike Morris Law Firm, so definitely know what it's like to be busy. Also, I am a member of the Wolverine Bar Association, which not only gives back to the law profession in the community, but also gives back and uplifts law students to be able to fulfill their path and their own amazing as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Paige. Again, so we are going to continue this conversation about unpacking, talking about dismantling all of the ways in which we live into the bullshit bar. Tonight's focus is on the glorification of busy. How many of us have been so busy we can't get anything done? How many of us have been so busy that we can't focus on the right things? We struggle with what to prioritize. We struggle understanding that we have been socialized, that we have to do it all, and that in that busy, we aren't accomplishing the things that we want to accomplish. So I want to open up this conversation tonight talking about what is it like to be so busy that you can't get the things done that matter the most? I want to open this conversation up with Paige, who is a guest I invited intentionally into this conversation because of all of her dopeness that she has. So many times I find her being too busy to do the things that really matter the most. And we get caught up in that busy cycle. And she's been intentionally working on that, trying to disrupt that. And so I felt like this was a really good platform to hear from her about her challenges and an opportunity to share where she's learning and growing, and can share that with the younger folks that are joining us tonight. Come on in.
Yeah, so thanks for thinking of me. I am actively working on not being so busy that I can't make time for things that really matter. I can't really pinpoint when it started to happen. I know that I've been quote unquote busy my entire life. So I've been a student athlete. I've always cheered. It's always been school. It's always been extracurricular activities for me. So there was always busy in my schedule. But now as an adult, as I come into my womanhood and into my career, and especially in a pandemic, having to do that, I don't know, it's been a kind of strange transition for me. So it became not being as busy as I thought that I was, and more so doing other things and claiming I was busy. So for an example, I blame everything on the pandemic. So the shutdown, it was a lot of I began working remotely. I started off being an attorney working remotely. So it was never the career I imagined for myself. I always thought I would be in the courtroom. So I would actively be busy, actively be doing things, but it became sitting at home. So then my busy became taking naps. My busy became binge watching movies or TV. And those things created this mindset for me that now I have to take my naps. Now I have to watch my TV. I might work a little here and there, but now I'm too busy to do anything else. I'm too busy to elevate myself in my career. I'm too busy to do anything really. So it became very crippling for me as far as making myself busy, trying to do other things that never really pushed me forward into who I wanted to be. And I didn't really realize this until Mrs. Harper kind of pointed out to me. And I wanted to start working out. I wanted to start putting forth the effort to do something for Paige for once. And even with that, I couldn't commit. So something in my brain kept telling me that you're too busy to do this. And I would blame it on work. I work, and then I was a cheer coach. So between those two things, to me, my schedule was too busy to do anything. When in reality, I actually had a lot of time that I could spend doing things for Paige. And Leah, who was here last week, she said something to me in December of last year. And I don't know, sometimes it takes someone who doesn't know you personally to say something to you to really make a shift in your life and in your atmosphere. And what Leah said to me was that I couldn't live my life based on emotions. I couldn't live my life based on what I felt like doing, because I would never feel like doing anything. So as far as working out, I never felt like waking up or going to my workouts. So I would never do it. I would always make an excuse for why I couldn't do it. When in reality, I had the time to be able to do so. So now moving forward, I say affirmations to myself every day. And one of those affirmations is I will not live my life based on emotions or fear. So even if I don't feel like getting up today, or don't feel like working out or working my hardest or sitting in on a deposition today, I have to do that for Paige. And that trickles down to even self-care things for myself. I've always put myself on the back burner because I'm too busy. And even with work, I would get off work, and I'm sorry if this is long-winded. I would get off work, run the cheer practice, and that would be my day. And I wouldn't make time for anything else. And now, full transparency, I'm no longer a cheer coach. And it was something that I really didn't want to give up. Because when you get in this busy schedule, this is what I do, and I can't make time for anything else. But now that I'm not a cheer coach anymore, I have grown so much in my career in the month or so that I have not done cheer. You know, like I finally have made time to do things that matter, the things that push me forward to my purpose. So that's all the bullshit busy. So like me making myself busy with things that don't really matter, and then actually making time for me has been a blessing and a huge difference in myself that I've seen thus far.
Awesome. So you said a couple things, Paige. One, off the top, never apologize for telling your story. Somebody's life is going to get better, right? Because you're being vulnerable in this moment. Never apologize for your dopeness and the story that comes with it, first. Second, thank you for being vulnerable enough to share, recognizing, right, that you can get so busy that you fail to do the things that are going to elevate you. And there's a season, right? There's a season where we need to focus on things different, and we need to recognize when it's time to come out of that so that you can do the things, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you keep busying yourself with the busyness of things that don't really matter for this season, you will not be setting Paige up for her greatest outcomes, right? So thank you for sharing that vulnerability. Traci, I want to invite you on in here into this conversation, really start helping us unpack what is that busy like for you? And how has it kept you from being the very best Traci that we all so love and adore?
Well, I think, we get sucked into these titles of what we are. Like we go to parties and events, and everybody stands around and gives these micro versions of their resume. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a whatever you consider your job to be. And everybody is, not everybody, but a lot of people are so focused on doing. And I think that it reduces the quality of our lives, because we really don't have, we come here great already. And we come under the notion that we have to be a thing to be successful, to be other people's standard of perfection or greatness or whatever. And we think those titles are what does it for us. But we are already that. We are already perfect when we get here. We are already amazing when we get here. We were born into that. Now, living your divine purpose is a whole other thing. It's different from being busy. I want to spend my life living my purpose. I had, a few years ago, I had started a new job. And during the interview process, the lady was like, she was looking at my resume, and there was nothing on my resume that had to do with the job that I was interviewing for. And she was like, so what about all of the stuff that you have here? I was like, I still do all of those things. There is nothing that you see on this resume that I don't do every day. Mm-hmm. All of these things are my life's work. The job that I was there for was part of my life's work. And I make time for all of those things, because those things are all of these things are my life's work. So I make the time to do those things, number one, because sometimes you got to do your shit so somebody else can do their shit. Like, for real. And I will give you an example. So many moons ago, me and Crystal worked together. I was her assistant. Okay. So I was her assistant. I came in, we were an awesome duo. And then it was time to leave. Okay. And Crystal was like, basically, she was in her office packing up stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I need to go in my office and start packing up too, because wherever Crystal is going, I am going too. We had built this relationship. She was the Jerry Maguire to my Renee Zellweger, okay? But it taught me so much, because Crystal was willing to make a move and step out on faith. And I had never experienced anything like that firsthand. So Crystal was in the beginning stages of doing her shit. So I was like, okay, I was in real time learning how to step out on faith, how to move in your purpose, and how to do it fearlessly. If Crystal had not done that, because that was an important piece for me to start my own journey. Back then, I didn't even know that my journey was starting, but it was starting because if Crystal's move planted a seed in me, so that I could then start my journey and do what I was trying to do. It's not been easy, but it's all been worth it. But I've had to be honest with myself, and that is the key piece too. You have to be honest with yourself about what it is that you are here for and what it is that you are here to do. I was like, I'm gonna do all the things. And then I discovered I cannot do all the things. It don't even make sense to try to do all the things. So then I was like, well, what are the things that I do naturally that I could see myself spending every day doing? And what are the things that I do naturally that I can make a living doing? So I had to narrow down all the things to the most important things. And I also had to make sure that these things that I had narrowed down were part of my divine purpose. I no longer do anything that is not part of my divine purpose. I have learned how to say no.
All
I
right.
have learned how to say no. And I will say it emphatically. A lady at my job asked me to do something, and I turned around without hesitation and told her no. And she was like, I appreciate that, because I don't know how to say no like that. I'm like, you should. You'll be better for it, because you will wear yourself out saying yes to all of these things that you are not fully committed to, and they will wear you down, and you will find yourself coming home from work or wherever your day is spent, not able to do anything else. And a lot of the times we'll work a job, and then after our job, we dedicate to the things that we want to do personally. If you say all the yeses, you're gonna come home and get into bed. And people think, oh, I'm on the go, I'm doing this all the time. That's not what life is. That's not living. Living is doing what you're supposed to do and caring for yourself while you do those things. So that's what I got.
John is listening, and he said, and we've all heard it, no is a complete sentence.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. We are classic for throwing the comma after it.
Oh my God.
No, but, no, and, no, I will, right? Like full sentence, drop that period and keep moving.
Keep it
I
moving.
like to tell women all the time, your no gives space to somebody else's yes.
True.
It may invite somebody in to be courageous to step in this space that you now left vacant because you had to give a full no. And we have to find ways to practice that and be okay with that.
That was a true challenge for me, and in all of these years, it had to be last year when I learned it from my daughter in action. Someone sent a text to me asking me for a referral that I didn't have a referral for, and I then took it upon and I could have just said, I don't know, but I took it upon myself to then turn around and ask her. And she said no and turned around and walked away. And I was like, oh. She was like, I don't know anybody. And I was like, okay, but and then I even went on, but don't you know? And she was just like, I don't know anybody. And I'm like, okay. And so, yeah, a lesson last year in my very, very grown life on how to just take that no. Paige, I have a question for you. Actually, I have a couple questions. You talked about growing up, you were always busy, the extracurricular, the all of the stuff that you did growing up. How did you learn that? Was it something that you watched your mom do? Was it something that how did you wind up with all of this extra stuff to do?
So I think it was a mixture of my mom. So she has always worked and always been to work in her suit and her heels, long hours, every single day I've ever seen, and then would be on call at night in case if there was a problem at work. But I think it was more so a combination of my parents putting us in things, and I say us as my siblings. So I've always been in something. I've always done more than one thing. And it was also instilled in me that you're not a quitter. So whatever you start, you finish. And now, like after, listening to Traci, being instilled with that mindset, you begin to think not only I can do it all, but I have to do it all. Like I can't quit. I can't say I'm too tired to do this because I can do it. Like there's this mindset, like I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And finally you realize, and I say finally because it's slowly creeping up on me now, that you can't do everything, or the things that I've decided to do not go towards my purpose. And I am open enough to say, I'm still praying to figure out what exactly I'm here to do. So that I'm not wasting time doing the things that I've done before and being busy with things that don't push me forward to my purpose. So I think it was a thing that was instilled in me as a child. Not that I wanted to do all these extracurricular activities, but I was put in them. And then as I grew older, it was almost like Traci said, a yes thing, or you like, yes, I can do these things. Sure, I can find this referral, Crystal. Like people come to me all the time and I do personal injury, but they're like, can you help me with this? what about criminal? What do you do, tax, or do you do all these other? And it's like, I have no idea.
Oh.
And I don't say no. I will Google something first. I will try to remember things I learned in law school instead of just saying, no, that's actually not what I do.
And here's why I asked that question about your mom and what you saw in your household growing up. And I talk about this on the financial literacy side, right? Because we don't recognize how what we saw, overheard, and was taught growing up, how it impacts us to this day. And it's not always a good thing, right? And sometimes it is, but and that's why I asked that question. But another thing that stood out was you said you had a lot of time that you could be doing things for Paige, but you were busy doing other things. Does any of that fall in? And this is for anybody that's out there listening as well. When we're doing all of these things for other people and we're not taking the time, like you said, not taking the time to elevate your own career, is it a, I'm going to do all of these things for other people. I'm not going to focus what I need to do out of fear or out of, am I worthy to elevate my career? Am I worthy to do these things for me? And so because there's that self-doubt, okay, maybe I'll just do all this stuff for other people.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's a big fear. And this is just so interesting that I'm here to speak today, because these are all new developments for me. And I'm just, and when I say just now, maybe a month or two in of breaking out of that fear that I have. And like I said, it goes back to, especially in my career, becoming an attorney in the pandemic. I felt like I didn't have a voice. It was all Zoom, all phone calls, all nothing to me. To me, I wanted to be in court. I wanted to be that lawyer with the suits and the heels. And everyone is like, we're not messing with her because we know she's about her business. And then when it wasn't like that, I think I kind of put myself in a box. I felt like I was not growing in my career. Not that the company that I work at doesn't allow me to grow. I put myself in this own box and convinced myself, you're good at what you do, so let's stay content there. Let's not ruffle any feathers. Let's do what we do. And if they want you to do more, they'll ask you to do more. When in reality, the way my company works, if you want more, if you want to press forward, you got to open your mouth and say something. And I'm at my 2-year mark of it being an attorney. I'm just now opening my mouth and saying something. So I've been drowning at work with all of these assignments. And finally, this year, I'm like, I need an assistant. I need somebody to help me with these things so Paige can grow. Because Paige has been in this box. I've been at this company for 4 years and I've been doing the same thing for 4 years. Yes, I'm an attorney now, but that didn't push me anywhere because Paige put herself in a box. Because Paige has been scared that I couldn't do it, that I couldn't be this attorney that I thought in my mind that I can be. And I'm not in the office, so I'm not interacting with people. So literally I'm at home sitting behind a computer, afraid to do more. And then now with that fear, I make myself busy with other things because I'm scared of tapping into my full potential. And I don't even know where that came from. So it's crazy what fear can do and can withhold you from for years until you can finally open your eyes and say, I am worthy of more. I can do more. So that's kind of the breakthrough that I'm trying to get to now.
And that's part of that bullshit bar. Those are those walls that we build up around ourselves. So yeah, it's a good thing that you're starting to recognize it and move out of that. Traci.
Hey.
Where's the busy that kept you from doing your life's work?
Crystal, I was busy doing nothing. I was content.
How about it?
I was content to be working for other people, and I was content to be your assistant forever, and I was content to be and this is the thing with me. I will give everybody else 1,000%. I will come in there and make your life better, baby. I will do it. I will come and build you a whole company, write all the business plans, everything that you need to be great. But I was willing to do that for other people and not willing to do that for me.
Plight of the Black woman.
Yeah. And so it was my friend Leanne that said it to me. And this was my wake-up call. She was like, girl, you give people so much of you. How much of you do you give to you? Like, how much time do you spend working on your master plan? How much time? Like, I've helped people build businesses. I have helped them execute their master plans, but I had no intention of doing that for me because I was content to be behind the scenes. You know, I'm an introverted extrovert or extroverted introvert. I don't know how it works, but I was content to, you know, not be seen and not make waves, and I'll just play the background. I don't want to play the background no more because I have things to say and I have things to do. And I have come to realize that me doing the things that I am supposed to do empowers other people to do the things that they're supposed to do. Sometimes we are the link in other people's lives. And them doing what they're supposed to do is contingent upon you doing your thing. So I had to figure out my thing though. And usually our thing is the thing that we have been doing all along. But for me, it wasn't glamorous enough. You know, I wasn't satisfied with my thing. I wanted it to be prettier, and I wanted it to be more dynamic than what it was. But we make the dynamism. We make it all of our stuff that we have to do. So I had a brain fart, but I want to say this before I lose it. So I have a divine purpose and I have been given an assignment. So I liken this life that I live to working at a corporation. So for me, God is the company. That's the corporation. The universe is my direct supervisor. The universe is the one that I get all of my assignments from. And I accept the assignments from the universe. So if I have accepted this assignment from the universe, I have to rely on the fact, I have to be a knower and know that my direct supervisor, the universe, is going to give me all the training that I need to do my job. My direct supervisor is going to give me all of the tools that I need to do my job. There was a point where I was like, okay, I want to do these things, but how am I going to do it? That is not my job. My job is not to figure out how something is going to happen. My job is to acknowledge that this is my job, accept the assignment, and then do. When I realized that my only job is to do my job and let the universe figure everything else out, everything became that much easier. I was in a state of constant inner turmoil, constant struggle, because I was trying to do the universe's job. The universe is my supervisor. I have a job. All I had to figure out was concentrate on my job. What am I contributing to the all there is? Once I figured out that this is what I'm contributing, everything that I needed to do my job, I began to receive. And then I was able to do my job in ease and comfort. So that's how you know when you are living your purpose and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to get everything that you need to do your job. And that is the position that I am in right now. Sometimes it is overwhelming because I got all of this stuff coming at me and I'm like, whoa, hold on. And it can be a little overwhelming, but I asked for this when I accepted my assignment. I asked for this when I agreed to take this position. I asked for this when I said to the universe, okay, yes, this is my job. this is what I'm here for, and this is what I'm going to do. So now I just have to do it. And if I need rest, the universe is going to provide an opportunity for me to rest. If I need healing, the universe is going to provide an opportunity for me to be healed. Everything that I need, my needs are always going to be met, always.
I absolutely love everything about that, Traci. Everything about that, right? When you bring God into the conversation, the rest of it is about you being patient to allow him to do the things that he needs to do to put you in the very best position to win. And when you recognize that, it serves no one for you to play small in any space that you're in, right? It will help you redefine what your purpose is and how to live out of it to benefit others. Somebody is being benefited in this moment, hearing your story, hearing Paige's story, really starting to grapple with how am I pouring into myself with the right things, right? And how do I find out what those right things are? Where am I being still to listen and to learn, right? I hear Paige, right? Like very late, she calls it. I came to this very late in the last month, and imagine what she has done. And just the small things she shared in that last month that she's been able to accomplish because she had to sit still, and it took somebody from the outside tapping her on the shoulder, right? Like it does not benefit us. And we have been socialized to not want to sit at the table, to don't think we earn a place at the table, stay busy with the stuff in the background that isn't serving anyone, let alone serving ourselves, right? And when we get into that space, right, unstoppable space, we gravitate. And that's why it's really important to check your circle, right? Check your tribe, check your crew. Who is lifting you up, tapping you on the shoulder, inviting you into the right spaces and calling you out lovingly, right? When you're doing all of the bullshit, right?
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Come on.
But when I show up, I bring the table with me.
Right.
Like, you know what? Like, okay, I don't necessarily need to have a seat at your table. I'm gonna come in with my table and my chair. So because you don't dictate for me how I get to live this life.
Right.
If I say I'm entering the room, I'm entering the room. If you don't have room for me at your table, that's okay, because I have my own table and I'm gonna bring it should I need to bring it. Also, I used to do this too. Like I would say, my cup runneth over, and my cup did run over. But I would give everybody all the stuff that was in my cup, and then I would take the runoff. Whatever was left over was mine. No, I get the cup now, and whatever is left over, everybody else gets. But I get the cup now. What's in the cup is mine.
Years ago, I had a conversation with a mentor of mine, and I was going into this thing about I give so much to other people, and the words, and people call me for this encouragement and all of this, and I said, well, when do I get that back? And she said, Crystal, what was put on your tongue for other people was put there for you first.
Yes.
And that literally changed the way I thought about it. She said, you may not ever get it back from somebody else, but it was put on your lips, on your tongue for you first. I do have a question in the comments from John, Dr. Hagens. Is it perceived as being a sign of weakness or vulnerability to allow people you love to help you get things done, particularly a love mate? Not trying to make this about relationship, but just curious. And I know for me, it's hard for me to like accept help from, I don't know what that's about, but
a sign of weakness
or vulnerability, or weakness or vulnerability.
I think it is vulnerability, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with being vulnerable, because at some point in our lives, we have to be vulnerable though, in order to receive certain things. We have to open ourselves up. Sometimes we have to get naked. We have to be raw. So, and if you have a mate or people in your life who love you and who can help you, by all means, allow them to help you. This is another one of the tools that we get from our supervisor, the universe. Everything that shows up in our lives is for us to utilize for our good and the good of others. So yes, it is being vulnerable, but that's all right though. That's what they're there for.
Right. Definitely not a sign of weakness, right? It is a sign of strength to be able to be vulnerable enough to ask for it and to accept it. It doesn't mean that you have failed. It doesn't mean that you are incapable. Our shoulders are only so broad, right? And if we don't recognize that there's only so much we can hold before we don't have anything left to give the universe, to give to other women who are watching and need to see our greatness, then again, we're playing small. And there's no space any longer for Black women to play small. We don't serve anyone well when we do that. So be bold, be brave enough to ask for the help. It's not about weakness whatsoever. It is your strength. It will make space for you to do the additional things, the other things, right? It will make space for other people to learn how to do that when they see you being vulnerable enough to ask for the help. And like Traci lifted up, especially from your mate, right? If they can't recognize in you, and this, we will turn this into the relationship conversation, right? When you don't recognize, right? When your mate is grinding for the greater good and you can't lean in and to provide the support that they need, part of it is, right? Like why should I have to ask? Closed mouths don't get fed.
Ever.
Right? Be willing to speak for what it is that you need in order to achieve that greatness that this world is in need of, even though they have not yet recognized it.
And Black women, I'm sorry, Crystal.
I'm sorry. Trying to do everything yourself, though, also is a form of self-sabotage.
It is.
True story.
Yeah.
True story.
And for Black women, I think we be so concerned. We be worried about the wrong stuff sometimes. We be concerned about how we're perceived. They perceive us, that's not our business, number one. They perceive us, Black women, it don't matter what we do. The days are gonna twist it into something anyway. It don't matter how we're perceived. Like when we speak up, we don't want to be perceived to be aggressive. Or when we're passionate about something, we don't want to be perceived to be the angry Black woman. I don't care what they think. I don't care how they perceive me. Am I showing up and shining? Am I showing up and getting the job done? My emotions, how you process what you have perceived, that don't have nothing to do with me. That's your issue. You work on that while I'm gonna be bringing my table and my chair ready to get busy.
So let me take a sponsorship break and then also ask everybody who is tuning in, if you all could just share this on your page right now, I would greatly appreciate that. The Amazing Women Speak podcast is sponsored by the Amazing Woman Network, which was created to unite and empower Black women globally, focusing on our core pillars of reclaiming our personal power, mind, body, and spirit, reclaiming our financial power, and increasing our social involvement. And we are calling all Black women to join our Black Women Owning Our Amazing movement. You can follow us on Instagram at the AW Network, our Facebook page, The Amazing Woman Network, and our Facebook group, Black Women Owning Our Amazing. And then I'm going to ask this question, and then Michelle, I'm going to send this to you. Talisa asked,
Before we hop into that, we have a question from the audience. What were some of the practices you all put into play when you decided to stop the madness and focus on living in purpose to keep you from going back to being busy for the sake of being busy?
Come on in here, Paige.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so for me, it's small victories, and it has to be small changes first before I just go full tilt, because I've been in this mindset for so long. So I actually created a self-care jar. I don't know if you can't see it behind me, but I created a self-care jar on New Year's Eve, and there's 52 sticks in there. And I made it my goal to pick a stick out every week and do something for me. And with that, it allows me to take time from being busy, take time from my excuses or saying yes to everybody else, and just say yes to Paige at least one time this week, you know? And there's multiple things in it. buy yourself flowers, take yourself to the movies, go get a massage, read a chapter of a book, like just do things that you say that you're too busy to do sometimes. And that's been my start, and I've been doing my best to pick out that stick every week.
I love
I
that.
love that.
I need to try that.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Right? Pouring back into yourself.
For me, I make sure that I ask myself, is what you are doing or what you are about to do in alignment with your divine purpose?
Mm.
If the answer is no, I do not do it.
So how do you calm the noise though, Traci, right? Because there's always those outside influences, right? That want you to stretch yourself for just a little while, right? Like, so how do you tame the outside noises? Because once you're locked in, you're locked in.
Yes.
Right?
So,
How do you tame that?
I have conversations with myself. I kick it with me, my homegirl. So I ask myself, first of all, do you really want to do this? Is this like, what is the reason that you want to do this? Are you doing this for you or are you doing this for them? And is there something else that you can be doing? You got a whole bunch of projects. You got a whole list of stuff that you need to be working on. Do you want to add this to the list? Is this important enough for you to add to your list of things that you already have to do? And girl, chill out. You do not have to do everything. Like I have, and I have a committee in my head. We all do. And in my committee, i.e. my ego, wants to convince me, oh, you can do this. You can just add this. This ain't gonna take nothing. This is another 30 minutes or another 15 minutes out of your day. This is, you can do that. And after I make sure that I tell myself the truth. And I don't want to commit to something and then do it half-heartedly or not give 100%. If I'm not giving 100%, that means I'm not passionate about it. That means it's not in alignment with my divine purpose. That means I shouldn't be doing it. But it's a process though, because in my mind, sometimes I say, yes, and I can do this. Yes, I really want to do this. I can add this to my list. Yes. And then a few days later, I'd be like, you know what? I was tripping. I can't do this. And I'm not doing this. And I'm not doing this to myself. I'm not setting myself up for failure of this thing that I'm not really fully committed to anyway. But it's a series of talks. It has to be a series of talks and truth telling.
I love that self-talk and the importance of an accountability partner that you can really be vulnerable with and share where you're trying to go and share the things that have tripped you up and kept you from getting there. That is, again, going to lovingly call you out to make sure you're staying true to the things that you committed, because you know the places in which you are trying to go, right? So something as simple as, hey, let's go to this event on Friday. Okay, when you know the minute okay fell out of your mouth, you did not want to do that, right? Yeah. And so why do we do that? Why do we give these gentle yeses, knowing that it's going to cost us something that we don't want to pay? And real unfortunately, when we give yeses for things that are going to cost us something we can't afford to pay. Forget the don't want to pay, right? Like that's the girlfriends, I don't really want to go, and right, and you go and then you don't have a great time and you wonder why you, like all of those things, just really starting to challenge yourself, that self-conversation about why did I say yes when I really knew I didn't want to in the first place, right? And so me personally, I'm trying to pay attention to the number of yeses I've given and really owning that it's my season to be able to pour into other people. And then when it's time to start putting that dimmer back down and start offering some no's, right? Because I recognize when you are around dope women and you recognize you have gifts, somebody is in need of that gift. And so sometimes we have to enter into that season of yes, where we're grinding, making a way that we can then start to dimmer it back down and offer the no's, because you've given folks the tools and the resources to be able to do it on their own. And I'm having to hold myself accountable, and I'm having my tribe hold me accountable right now to the number of yeses that I passed out, that I didn't have any space for a no, right? Like I would not give a no. And I'm stretching myself so thin that my quality of yeses is no longer 100%. So who did I serve in that moment? and giving all of these yeses, right? Like passing them out like a deck of cards. And knowing that I didn't have 100% to give to any of those spaces, I'm recognizing in this moment, I need to come out of that season and the dimmer back down and offer the no's, again, allowing space for somebody else to say yes.
And you have to pay attention to how you feel. Because that's also the truth. Your body, your spirit, your inner self will indicate to you, your emotional guidance system will indicate to you what you should and what you shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just pay attention to how you feel. If you're feeling away, don't do it. That's the truth right there. That's spirit telling you, don't do that.
Right, but we have to fight the way we've been socialized as Black women, because when people start seeing that, they start holding us accountable in ways that aren't helpful, that doesn't change the narrative that we're trying to break about being a Black woman, right? So we fear giving up, saying no. We fear not showing up, right? Because she can't be counted on. She can't be, right? Like we think of all of those things. So we have to break that socialization that we have to do all of the things. We have to carry all of the weight because ... right? Like so many
That
ways.
bullshit bar.
Right. Here we go, right? Full circle moment.
It's that bullshit bar. If you don't show up, and Paige talked about it, she was like, yeah, and 4 years later, I'm still in the same spot. Yeah, I'm an attorney, but and then we think, well, if we don't show up to every event, if we don't show up to this, if we don't say yes to this project, that we're not going to get where we need to be in career or in life. But the reality of it is like Michele said, you can't show up at 100% if you're trying to show up for everything.
Right? Like that fear of missing out, miss me. I'm okay.
I'm okay with it. Like,
I'm
for
okay.
real.
Yeah, I'm definitely okay with it. Yeah, definitely. Michele.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's leave the ladies with our listeners with what is the one thing that resonated with you the most when you said, I can't keep operating at this level, because everybody on this call is an overachiever.
Right.
Not just an achiever, but an overachiever. And for me, one of those things is because I have this really great assignment, and then I get all of these downloads that come so rapidly. I had to learn and to figure out, well, one, you can't do them all at the same time. And I have to figure out, okay, well, I had to take some things off of my plate so that I could become very focused on the things that were on my plate to be able to push those through the pipe quicker. And it's challenging, and it's one of the things that I have to go back and recommit to every single day. You don't get it today and then it's fixed. I have to recommit every single day. Like, nope, here's my, my Make It Amazing, my power list, right? What are those 5 things that I have to get done today? And then I have to be all right with the things that were on the second page of the list, right, that I don't get to, because I can't just do the 5. But where was that thing that said, hey, lady, you have to slow down, prioritize? Because you do, Michele Harper, an awful lot. I don't know where you find the amount of hours in the day to accomplish what you accomplish, but where was it where you said, in order for me to be the best for me, because it's not about being the best for everybody else, it's really about being the best for you. Where was that thing, and what do you practice daily in order to make sure you're being the best for Michele?
It's a really great question. First, it was my health, right? Like lupus was like, right? And so I had to pay attention to that. And I know that great days may cost me tomorrow. And I wanted to be able to show up for the tomorrow. So I had to pay attention to the today. And I had to pay attention to where I was spending my energy. So really, when I wake up each morning and I'm in prayer, I have to actively pay attention and check into what I prayed for to ensure that I'm living into it. Otherwise, why did I bother God with that prayer in that moment when I wasn't ready to even attempt to lean into what I was asking for, right? And so I want to be able to do all of the things, right? I want to be able to watch every Black woman that comes in my space and asks me for some kind of help, to be able to give it and to be able to be present for it. And I recognized the way that I was doing it was costing me my health, ultimately costing me my life. So while I'm trying to pour into others to extend their life through health and fitness, extend their life through these conversations about race and racism, I was giving up my own. I have 2 girls that deserve better than that, right? And so I had to reevaluate. So every day it's in this prayer. And so I utilize this device. At noon, I'm going to get another reminder to check in. Are you living into the things you asked God for today? Every day at noon, because that's my midpoint, right? And so I'm still a work in progress. And I still recognize that, again, I have to pay attention to it every single day. And I'm going to do all of the things to help me, remind me of being able to do that. Because as much as I want this universe to be better, as much as I want every other Black woman to succeed, I need my girls to have their mother fully present, to be able to do the things, right, that I did all of this other stuff ultimately for. And so that's what I had to pay attention. My health called me to the table, and my faith is making me recognize that there's a different way of being effective and changing lives without you having to pour from that empty cup.
Paige, what was that defining moment for you?
Interestingly enough, I stopped being able to recognize myself.
Wow.
So when that happened, I'm like, we got to do something. Like, something has to change. Something has to give. Pouring from that empty cup. I poured from it so much that there was nothing left for Paige. That when I looked in the mirror, it wasn't who I used to be. So I began to refocus that energy into myself, redoing things that I was interested in, and realizing that I might not go back to who I was before, but tapping into the new changes, everything that I had gone through within the past couple years, and realizing that it's okay to be different, but it's not okay to stay the same. It's not okay to sit here and keep giving out of an empty cup and then looking in the mirror and not being happy with yourself, or not even recognizing who you are anymore because you gave to everybody else. And you're too busy, for me, and I'm too busy to even realize that I'm losing myself in the process. So that was the defining moment for me, and it's been life-changing ever since.
Wow.
Traci?
I was sad. And I was sad because I wasn't doing my thing. I was sad because I wasn't doing what I was put here to do. And I wasn't living in the present. So both the past and the future are figments of our imagination. The only thing that is real is what is happening right now at this moment. So I make sure to stay focused on the right now. And as long as I'm focused on the right now, and I'm doing everything that I can do for me and for the world in these present moments, then because I wasn't always living in the present, I was always thinking about some future life, or rehashing something that had already happened, which is not fair to us when we do that. Like, we've already had this experience, we've already gone through it, and now you going back to the past, reliving these moments, how does that serve you? And it doesn't. So when I realized I was doing those cells, I was doing those things, I was doing myself a disservice. And we get beat up every time we go outside the house. You know, folks is ready. And I refuse to do that to me. I refuse to beat myself up. I refuse to talk about myself in a negative way. And I had to learn how to change the language that I use, the words that come out of my mouth. Instead of saying, I'm fat, I'm a work in progress. I am working on losing weight. So instead, I now turn my negative self-talk into positive, progressive communication with self.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So here we are at the end of another episode. A couple of things I want to invite us to be thinking about until next Sunday when we unpack another level of the bullshit bar. Before I do that, I want to thank Kim Arnold for joining us, for being our producer behind the scenes. We'll keep getting better and better at this. And so we invite you back next week. We encourage you to utilize the chat feature to get your questions in. And we want to hear your voices. We want to hear your questions. You've got dynamic women joining us each week that are going to be able to provide you some great insight, tools, and resources to be able to have this conversation. So thank you, Kim, for being behind the scenes. Thank you, Traci. Thank you, Paige, for giving your hour. You are changing lives with the words that you shared tonight. Of that, I am sure. Crystal Gunn, once again, thank you for being obedient to your assignment.
Yes.
For allowing us to have this platform to unpack the bullshit bar and to really challenge us to be thinking about the ways in which we show up and the ways in which we will get better when we continue to collectively have these conversations, collectively challenge ourselves to rise up and to be better. And for the generations of Black women that are coming behind us to know no space is ever made better without their voice in it. I thank you, Crystal Gunn. I could not be more grateful for the way in which you live into the obedience of your assignment. My name is Michele Harper. I am a Black woman, and I absolutely own my amazing. Traci.
Thank y'all for having me. Like, this is a dope conversation. And I just have to tell the world who's watching, I got dope friends. I mean, all of my lady friends are doing the thing. I'm so very just honored to be holding space with y'all. And thank you for allowing me to share these pieces of my journey, because the things that happen to us in our lives aren't just happening to us for us. Other people can benefit from these things. So thank you for this, beautiful platform. Crystal Gunn, thank you for being you. You are so awesome. And Michele Davenport Harper, I'll be talking about you all the time to the people. I mean, because y'all are actually doing stuff, and you're unstoppable. We have life stuff that gets in the way, and y'all don't let that life stuff halt what you are supposed to be doing in your life. So thank you for being that example for me and others.
Thank you, Traci. Paige.
Yes, I just want to piggyback off of that. Thank you just so much for even thinking of me for this. And thank you just for having this platform. And like Mrs. Harper said, Crystal, just for you understanding your assignment, it's so inspiring to me, and I know to everyone else, to be able to be so faithful and disciplined in your assignment and to be able to give back in this way. It's truly amazing. And I thank you for even having this platform. And also, just, I know us speaking today helps others, but I just want you all to know that it helped me too. And I don't know if that was your goal, but it definitely helped me too. So just keep going, keep pushing, because this is what we need as Black women.
Thank you all so much for being here and sharing your stories. I think you all are awesome and amazing. And as Traci said, when she first started talking, we came here amazing. It was established at birth. It's not something that we aspire to be. It is who we are. And we have to go back and go about the business of remembering that, because somewhere along the way, we forgot. It's a whole lot going on, and we forgot. So I definitely thank you guys for sharing. You're amazing. To our viewers, our listeners, again, whether you're watching live or the replay, I thank you for your input in the conversation. I thank you for showing up. When this was given to me, I did not realize the impact that it would have. So I am grateful. And I always say the only credit that I take is that I try to be obedient. I don't get it right always on the first time, but I try to come back and totally be obedient. So Again, I just thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Again, I'm Crystal Gunn. In all things you do, make it absolutely amazing. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you all next week.
All right. Peace, y'all.